every single time you complain, you are reinforcing the idea that life is happening to you, not with you. It's a loop. And what you speak reinforces what you believe, which reinforces what you look for, which becomes what you experience. Hello and welcome to the Gratitude and Growth Podcast, your compass for a grateful and growth-filled life. I'm your host, Sarah Mittich. I'm an actor, a transformational life coach, and the founder of Gratitude and Growth. But above all, I am a wildly curious person, and I have spent over a decade researching and studying the worlds of mindset, somatics, spirituality, and self-discovery, all to understand why we do what we do, who we innately are, and how we actually become the person that we want to be. So whether you're driving or walking, or just taking a break from your day, thank you so much for being here and for joining me as we explore what it is to be a human being in this lifetime. Hello, and welcome back to another episode. Today, we are diving into something that seems so small, harmless, maybe even normal, but it is something that is quietly shaping your reality every single day. I'm talking about complaining. Yes, the sighs, the eye rolls, the this always happens to me, the can you believe she did that moments. It is something that we all do, but it is something also that, left unchecked, can completely hijack your energy, your nervous system, and the life that you are trying to create. So, we're going to unpack today why complaining is more powerful than we think it is, what it does to your brain and to your body, and what it attracts into your life. And then I'm going to give you a gentle 3-day challenge to help you shift it, not through toxic positivity, but through awareness and presence. Let's start here. Complaining is a pattern, not a personality. You are not a negative person, you are just practicing a negative pattern. And complaining is one of the easiest patterns to fall into. Why? Because it's socially accepted. It's how so many of us bond, which is so odd if you sit back and think about it. Complain about the weather, complain about work, complain about your partner, and I bet you someone will nod along and say, right, same. But here's the thing. Every single time you complain, you are reinforcing the idea that life is happening to you, not with you. It's a loop. And what you speak reinforces what you believe, which reinforces what you look for, which becomes what you experience. So let's look at what is actually happening inside of us when we get caught in a cycle of complaint. Okay, neuroscience time. When you complain repeatedly, you are strengthening a neural pathway that says, this is what we focus on, this is what we expect. And the more you activate that pathway, the easier it becomes for your brain to default to it. It's like a well-walked trail in the woods. Eventually, it becomes the path of least resistance. That is neuroplasticity. That is the brain wiring itself according to what you repeatedly think, say, and focus on. Now, add in confirmation bias. Your brain starts scanning for more things to complain about, just to prove itself right. Did someone cut you off in traffic? Of course they did. Another delay at the airport? Oh, so typical. You start to experience the world not as it actually is, but as you expect it to be. That's the power of the brain. And your body? It doesn't know the difference between a real threat and a thought. So every complaint triggers a mild stress response. A tight chest, raised cortisol, shallow breath. Your nervous system says, we are under attack. Even if the attack is your barista getting your coffee order wrong. It's not the moment itself that dysregulates you. It's the repeated mental narration of what's wrong. Now let's talk energy. From a spiritual perspective, every word you speak carries a vibration. And when you complain, you are amplifying the frequency of what you don't want. The law of attraction isn't about pretending life is perfect. It is about where you place your attention. Because where attention goes, energy flows. We've all heard that. And where energy flows, more of that shows up. So when we complain, we're not just voicing a frustration. We are actually feeding it. That is why this is so important. When we complain, we are aligning ourselves with the vibration of lack, powerlessness, or even resistance. Complain says, life isn't working for me. Gratitude says, even here I can find something sacred and safe and awesome. And I want to be really, really clear here because this is not about bypassing real emotions. There are absolutely moments where things need to be voiced, where they need to be processed or released or named. But there is a big difference between acknowledging a feeling that you are experiencing and rehearsing a narrative over and over again. One moves you through, the other one keeps you stuck in that loop. So here's where the shift begins. As I always say, we can't change what we don't notice. And the truth is, most of us don't even realize how often we are complaining. It's so reflexive, and it's sometimes so subtle that it might be hard to catch. So this is where your power comes in. Not in being perfect, not in never complaining again, but in becoming aware, in noticing, beginning to notice how these complaints come out and when they come out. And here's the magic. Every single complaint is actually an invitation. It's an opportunity to come back to presence, my favorite thing. It's an opportunity to choose a new lens. Instead of, I can't believe I have to do this, what if you said, okay, cool, I get to move my body today, or I have another chance to show up as who I would like to be, or this is hard, but I'm here. Gratitude doesn't mean you love every moment. It means you are willing to see what is here with clarity and with compassion. It's the anchor. It's the nervous system balancer. It is the mental rewire. Because when you start looking for what is working, you build new neural pathways. You change your perception. You change your energy. And eventually, you will and can change your life. Okay, so here's your mini challenge for this week, should you choose to accept it. For the next 3 days, just commit to noticing every single time you complain. You can wear a bracelet and switch wrists every single time you catch yourself. Or just keep a little note on your phone to log moments of when you complain. And when you catch yourself, don't judge it. This isn't about suddenly making yourself out to be the bad guy. Just pause, breathe, ask yourself, what am I really feeling underneath this? What do I need that I'm not getting right now? Is there another way that I could relate to this moment? This challenge is not about suppression, okay? This challenge is about creating space. It's about giving yourself the option to respond, not just react. So, catch your complaints without judgment, bring them into awareness, and then just choose to soften, to pause, to shift. Replace with one moment of gratitude, even if it's small. Because every single time you choose presence and gratitude over reactivity, that is how you slowly become who you want to be. And that is really how you start rewiring your confirmation bias, where you start building those new neural pathways. Sometimes we can be stuck in a loop of complaining. And again, that might be our autopilot. And I'm all about breaking the autopilot, unless your autopilot is really, really, really working for you. So this is just being aware of what is our complaining autopilot. And do you want to pay the price of that complaint? Do you want to send that energy back to you? Do you want to keep training your brain to look for everything that is wrong in what's happening in your life? Do you want to choose to expect to see the negative and the bad and the frustrating in life? Or do you choose with these micro moments to rewire and start choosing to see the good, to start training your confirmation bias, to see the positive, to see the wonder, to see the magic, without pretending that the hard times don't exist? Because, as I always say, it's inevitable, right? That's just control if we try to control only positive emotions and experiences. But even in the experiences that are challenging us, we can choose to look for the good without bypassing the reality of what we're feeling. So this is just a great way. Start with your complaints. Start with what you're complaining about, who you're complaining about, and just asking yourself, what is this getting at? And can I look at this in another way? It's hard. I'll be honest and say that, especially if you start realizing you're in a loop of complaint. From the smallest complaints to the biggest complaints. From complaining about the weather or waiting in line at the DMV to bigger challenges of how am I going to pay for my rent next month or my mortgage? Start doing this exercise and gently rewiring with gratitude and just stay curious, right? Curiosity over expectation, baby. I always say it. Get curious about this exercise. Get curious about why you are complaining. Get curious about why it might feel better to complain than not to complain. And just do this one for yourself. Let me be open and honest and tell you that I did once a month of no complaining. I do this challenge for myself a lot. And it was difficult for me to share that with people because, again, complaining is so socially acceptable. And not a lot of people are willing to do this. So I ended up doing it quieter for myself because I ended up feeling more judgment from others. And it just becomes a fascinating exercise in awareness, in how much everybody around us complains and how that can become a spiral of itself. It's rare to sit with a group of people and only talk about the good things that we're focusing on. And again, I'm going to say this a million times, but it's not about not being able to vent or release, but there's a big difference between venting and a chronic loop of complaining, right? Releasing, expressing is extremely important. But once you do that once, do you find yourself doing it with everybody you sit down with, right? That's one of the things to notice. So give this mini challenge a go if you feel up for it. 3 days might seem like a lot. If it is, start with 1. Or if you're like, no, hey, let's do this for a week, make it your own. But this truly is a really eye-opening exercise. And it just shows you also the power of gratitude, because you will notice a shift mentally, physically, in your presence. Okay, as always, I'm going to end with something I'm grateful for and something that I am currently growing through. I'm going to keep it simple today and say I'm so grateful for a good night's sleep and having a good night's sleep for quite a few days in a row now. And just the power of rest and the power of sleep and what it does for your mind and your body and your soul. So I'm so grateful to be sleeping so well right now. And something I'm growing through is my listening lately. Is really making sure that when people are talking to me, I am as present as I can be with them. And I'm actually truly listening to what they're saying. And this could be a whole episode of its own, but for most of my life, when I was younger, I realized I don't really listen to people, and that like I'll go through the motions because I'm an actor, so I can show you I'm listening, but I'm not actually taking it in. And I can respond like I'm listening, but I'm not actually absorbing it. So sometimes I notice myself slip into that default. And so the past few days, I've really been growing through, okay, why is that popping up right now? Am I moving too fast? Am I creating too much on my to-do list, a million different things. But that's definitely something that I'm growing through this week, especially, is just anchoring into my listening and making sure I'm present with the people that I'm with. All right. As always, thank you so much for tuning in this week. Stay grateful and keep growing. Bye for now. Thanks so much for tuning in today. If this episode resonated, send it to someone you love. And please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if you're craving deeper support, the G&G Studio is here for you with mindset work, movement, breath work, guided meditations, and a like-minded community. It has all the tools and support you need to grow all in one place. And the best part, you get to move at your own pace in your own way. You can explore the G&G Studio anytime at www.gratitudegrowth.com. And hey, if you leave me a review on Apple Podcasts and you send me the screenshot, I will send you a free exclusive guided meditation called Gratitude for Growth as a thank you gift for supporting the show. Your subscribes, reviews, likes, comments really help get this content out to even more people. So your support truly does go a long way. You can find the form to submit in the show notes. And I hope to see you back here soon as we continue to explore this wild and beautiful thing that we all call life.